In this video, we're going to be looking at the best villain duos in DC Comics. I was realizing the other day when I did the heroes version of this video, I never ended up doing the villains one, so we're going to do it today. Now, in DC, it is far more common to get two heroes teaming up together than it is villains. Very often when villains team up in DC, they tend to team up in bigger groups more than just two. We have had our fair share before, and I do have 8 duos on this list. Now, some of them have, like I said, happened in DC before, but some of these are actually created by some of my own ideas, and more so DC villain duos that I think would be really cool to see or could potentially work really well. So with that being said, let's waste no more time and get into the first team. This first villain duo is Joker and Harley Quinn, arguably the most iconic and popular villain duo in DC's history and maybe even comic book history. The chaotic energy between these two characters has been seen many times before, and it constantly proves why their connection is always exciting. It may not be the healthiest, but nonetheless, it's entertaining. Joker's wild ideas and unpredictability can be expanded tenfold when Harley Quinn is involved, considering she can be just as crazy and wild as him. And their duo in general is special in the sense that it's not all about fighting Batman. It's not always all about being villainous, even though of course that is their main drive. It's heavily about their romantic relationship, which again is obviously not healthy, but it does really focus and showcase on how the Joker uses Harley and how Harley's love for him does not go the same way. History is really on their side. That all stems back to the Batman animated series. That show will be known for doing some of the most culturally impactful and inspiring things in DC's history. But one of the greatest things that I think many people would say that they did in that show was the creation of Harley Quinn and her connection partnership with the Joker. Ever since then, Joker and Harley Quinn's relationship have been popularized and showcased more times than anybody can count. Now, of course, in DC over recent history, the past couple of years, they've really tried to push Harley as an anti-hero, and now Harley teams up with other characters like Poison Ivy. Joker has Punchline. These two characters have drifted apart over the years. And whereas it might be interesting to some people and others don't really care about those new relationships they've been forming with other characters, at the end of the day, no matter who they partner up with in the future, nothing will ever have the same feel or be as grand as Joker and Harley Quinn together. For this next team, I have Sinestro and Brainiac, a team up that has never been done before, but I think would be really interesting to see. Both believe in a fear-type authority, Brainiac through intellect, Sinestro through power, and both through control. This could feel very similar to Galactus and Silver Surfer, Sinestro preparing worlds and Brainiac arriving for its destruction. So there would be 2 ways to do this. Like I said, Sinestro acting as a herald to Brainiac, which he prepares worlds for him, or both Sinestro and Brainiac choosing to team up with each other on the same playing field because both of their goals can be met if they do so. I think usually when you deal with Sinestro, it has to be about the Green Lantern Corps, Oa, and the Guardians of the Universe. And who better than to get a character like Brainiac who's all about enslaving worlds, destroying worlds, bottling cities, and taking him to go against Oa, the best possible scenario in which Sinestro would be able to accomplish this and maybe even take Oa for himself. There's a couple things you could do here that would be fascinating to see. If victorious, would Sinestro destroy the Green Lantern Corps along with its battery? Would he use the battery and the rings for himself, his own power? Would he rather Oa completely gone and destroyed, or would he allow Brainiac to do what he wants with the Guardians so he could take Oa for himself? And I could only imagine getting the Guardians' own inventions involved, getting Brainiac to infiltrate and possibly even hack attack the Manhunter bots to also use them as a piece of their army going against Oa. There is a lot that these two could do together. Then I have Joker again, but this time with Lex Luthor. Both Luthor and Joker have proven to be very intelligent when planning and strategizing, usually giving whoever they're going up against a hard time. Their mutual animosity, or I should say love for Batman in terms of the Joker, but overall interest in Batman and Superman would elevate these two characters to be the best versions of themselves. It's always a good time watching heroes go against different villains not from their rogues. For example, Batman going up against Luthor and Superman going up against Joker. For this villainous duo, they also have some history on their side, especially in the Justice League animated series when they crossed over with one another, or even too in the Batman Superman animated movie. That is, yes, only one time I'm picking out there, but it is one of those one times where it was so impactful amongst the fan base. Everyone loved it. Usually putting Joker on teams of 2, 3, 4, however many people is always difficult because Joker's not a team player. He only thinks of himself, what he wants, and realistically, even if the person or the people he's teaming up with, if they get in his way, he'll remove them or he'll use them as cannon fodder. He does that all the time with Harley Quinn. Lex Luthor won't be so easy to do that to, and he wouldn't let himself be in those positions. Even though Joker is rather untamable, there could be things that Luthor would do to make sure he has control, or in a way has tamed Joker for long enough to get what they both want. But then on the other hand, you could look at Luthor and be like, for such a smart man, why are you so stupid to team up with someone like the Joker? So it goes both ways, really. At the end of the day, honestly, having Batman's main villain and Superman's main villain team up together to go up against the main heroes in Batman and Superman, it's always going to be a fun time. Sometimes we just have to throw the reality of who Joker is out the window, and then at the end of the story, you can allow Joker to be who he truly is. This team up needs to be allowed to have its time in the sun, and usually when they are used together, they are fun stories. Now we look at Ra's al Ghul and Vandal Savage. Their centuries of existence and knowledge would make their strategizing skills nearly unmatched. Both of them believe in reshaping humanity at all costs and by any means necessary, using any type of force that they need. And they each have military and political power, reaching and spanning across centuries, allowing their network to be everywhere. This is a team up that you would maybe think would be used much more often. Perhaps maybe both of their high-leveled ambitions would keep them from working with one another. Maybe they would clash too much. I think both of these characters have too much in common to just keep this duo on the sideline. I'm sure somewhere out there in DC's history they have come across each other or have maybe perhaps worked with each other indirectly, part of bigger groups and sects of organizations. These two characters could team up to really assert themselves with world domination, ensuring that their beliefs, their political views, and what they want from their power and control is seen across the world. What's great about this team is you don't simply just fight Ra's al Ghul, you don't simply just fight Vandal Savage, you have to fight the League of Shadows. You have to maybe even fight Vandal Savage's group, whoever he's coming with here. Maybe you could do something where Vandal has a group called The Light. Maybe instead of being filled with a bunch of other villains that are being recruited into the Light, you could make it more League of Shadowy, in the sense where it is filled with top-end agents, maybe some assassins, maybe some ninjas, maybe this, maybe that. And both of these groups come together to form something bigger than just themselves. I'm sure there would be some ideological differences here, both characters wanting to handle certain situations differently. But I don't necessarily think that needs to derail the team. I think that could actually offer some very intriguing intriguing dialogue between two characters who have both been alive for centuries. Obviously, with this duo, again, it wouldn't be perfect, but I think it would be just good enough. Another thing that you could potentially do narratively is while they work together, they each have their own secret plan to go against one another once they have what they want, once they have world domination, once they have a form of control where they could finally go against one another. But in the meantime, I think this could be a great team up that we haven't really ever seen in this capacity. For the next team, I have Gorilla Grodd and Poison Ivy. They both share a hatred for humankind and see humans and their creations as an infestation, something that needs to be removed or even destroyed. They have their own versions of mind control and manipulation and could fit well together through Ivy's plant network and Grodd's military force. In terms of nature and the way they want the world to look, they could find ways to fit each other in their own personal plans. I don't necessarily have a full-blown story or idea the way I maybe do with some of these other teams. I just think the vibe and the aesthetic of Gorilla Grodd and Poison Ivy would work really well. And considering how much greenery and nature there is, I think Poison Ivy would rather like Gorilla City as well. This could be a very interesting duo to go up against a duo of maybe Batman and the Flash, or if you wanted to traverse Poison Ivy out in the DC world to fighting other heroes, you could maybe make this a Flash and Green Lantern duo that they're going up against. But other than what I've already said, I don't have too much else to say about this team up. Just idea-based coming up with some of these teams. I think they look like a team up we could see in DC. Now we have Ultra-Humanite and Amazo. Ultra-Humanite would reprogram Amazo for his particular needs and upgrade him to a maximum efficiency, capable of doing almost anything. With the ability to copy powers, Ultra-Humanite would likely find ways to maximize Amazo's power output and render opponents useless, along with ensuring it would never turn on him. And Ultra-Humanite would see this as a villainized evolution of mental and physical perfection, creating the best match of intelligence and power. I think it would be cool for Ultra to see Amazo as kind of a product that hasn't necessarily been used the way it really should be. Amazo always fails. He can never fully beat the Justice League or whoever he goes up against. But with my knowledge, with my tinkering, with my insight, I could make Amazo unstoppable. And while making Amazo unstoppable, it also makes me unstoppable. To make it more interesting for the reader or the audience in general, you would make the Amazo what he was in the animated series. More talkative, more curious, in ways a little more empathetic. That's not to say that in a story of these two working together, Amazo would find a conscience and just go against Ultra-Humanite helping the villains, but that's also not to say that Amazo would not realize that Ultra-Humanite is perhaps using him and maybe he goes up against him for that reason. This could also be a character discovery in which Ultra-Humanite is actually portraying Amazo is perhaps who he wish he was, this perfect, unstoppable, powerful force, instead of being turned into the being that he currently is now. Even though he's super smart, he doesn't look the way he wants, and he doesn't have truly what he wants. Then I have Riddler and Calendar Man. Obsessive masterminds. Both villains structure and build crimes around riddles, dates, and places, making their plans complementary to one another. Their shared need for symbolism creates elaborate and theatrical crime sprees that will show off their patterns and puzzles. They specialize in mental games that wear down heroes before any real confrontation, making them rethink every step they take. This is another team up I'm a little surprised has never happened before. On the flip side, maybe it's because their egos would not allow for it. But just hypothetically, if they could get past that, which is really hard to say, especially for Riddler. These two characters' minds would be wild. It would actually be crazy to see what plot they could come up with and how long it would take for certain heroes to figure out what's going on. I think a duo here that would be really great is Batman and the Question, featuring how they, super smart in detective skills and discovery, are still struggling to figure out what the ulterior motive, what the main goal is for Riddler and Calendar Man. These two characters working together to create one master plan could be on a level of another Long Halloween situation, a story that has many twists and turns with Batman trying to figure out the truth behind everything. It could be on a pretty grand scale. And then last for this video, but certainly not least, I have Ares and Trigon. One is the god of war and the other a demon celestial. Their combined power is apocalyptic that would require the world to fight back. With Ares fueling conflict and Trigon's corruption, together they could turn the world into their playground, with some of the most powerful heroes even becoming their servants, or perhaps unknowingly even fighting for them. They also create a loop that never breaks. Ares thrives on violence, Trigon thrives on despair, war breeds despair, and despair breeds more war. Rinse and repeat. This, if written properly, could be a duo that is one of the biggest threats DC's history has ever seen. There's no doubt about it, Trigon is an ultimate threat, and I always believed Ares should be powerful enough to be on that level as well. So if you put both of them together, insane. This is great too because you're bringing in a lot of warrior type aesthetic and magic as well. And even to mention too, Ares has ties to that magical world too. Even though this is heavily about going up against a DC universe, or mainly Earth perhaps, involving all heroes, this could really all come down to Wonder Woman and Raven needing to put it on their shoulders to make whatever sacrifice possible for one to defeat one of her arch nemesis in Ares, and for the other to defeat her father once and for all. Now, all in all, Ares and Trigon working together, it would have to be something in the moment that benefits both of them. This could not be something of a partnership in which, hey, let's just work together from now on for good. There's no way that would be possible between these two characters. It would just need to be something that everything lines up perfectly, where they say, if we combine our powers and our strengths now, we could both get what we want. We could both destroy the world. We could take ownership of the world. We could harness everyone's powers. We could defeat some of these grand heroes. We could do what we wanted. Ares and Trigon would be a team up I would love to see in some grand scale epic finale of a DC story. But there you go, guys. 8 different villain duos that have existed in DC's history before, or ones that I created for this video. I think I would have to say my top 3 here is Riddler and Calendar Man, Ra's al Ghul and Vandal Savage, and Ares and Trigon. I like my DC to be grand, epic, mythical. I like that type of vibe, and I always have from DC Comics, so that one's gotta take the cake for me, because that's what it would be. But you guys let me know in the comments below what your favorite duo is that I created, and what your personal duo would be if you made them. That is all I have for you on this video, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it, and until the next time, I will talk to you all very soon.